Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Givardhari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Givardhari. Yashodanandana Bhaja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Bhaja Janaranjana. Yamunatira Vanachai. Yamunatira Vanachai. Jaya Radha Nava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Givardhari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Givardhari. Yashodanandana Bhaja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Bhaja Janaranjana. Yamunatira Vanachai. Yamunatira Vanachai. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Shri Radhe. Jaya Jagaguru Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jagaguru Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Everyone together. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotanam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiyayat Nashtapaye Shabadeshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual masters opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto them. Yeah, so just to develop a little bit more on this point here, we were hearing from every morning in the Krishna house we share a Prabhupada quote of the day. And today's quote, Prabhupada was saying that it's only by the empowerment of Krishna that we can share Krishna consciousness. So I just want to acknowledge that the only reason that I'm able to share anything is because of the empowerment of Krishna through his devotees, through my spiritual masters, through the blessings of all the devotees here. And in actuality, I myself am not at all able to do anything. I'm still very much under the modes of material nature. The lust is still there. I see it. The pride is there. So I'm just here as an instrument. I'm just here to share what I've heard and use whatever gifts, whatever Krishna has given me in his service. So any of us, we can share Krishna consciousness simply by reading Prabhupada's books and sharing it and endeavoring to follow the instructions and pleasing the devotees. Simply just being an instrument. So Hare Krishna. Sorry, I just needed to say that because it was like my appearance day yesterday, and you get a lot of people saying nice things to you, but I'm just passing it up. I'm just passing it up. Really, it's only by the mercy of Guru and Krishna that we can do anything, that we can say anything. So today we will be reading from Canto 6, Chapter 5. We're starting a new chapter, so that's nice. We're going to hear from our very beloved Srila Narada Muni which he's one of my favorite characters, I must say. Actually, is it chapter 5? Yeah, it's chapter 5. That's the one we're starting. And we're going to hear about Prajapati Daksha. He had 10,000 sons, and for the purpose of procreating the earth. But he sent them off to do some austerities, some penances, some severe austerities. And Narada Muni found them, and he turned them into brahmacharis. He's an expert at that, and he will use a wonderful allegory. So can somebody tell me what this reminds you of? Narada Muni using an allegory to help somebody become more detached to the material world. Do we remember? Paranjana, King Paranjana, yes. All right, we can start reading. So we'll read from text 1 to 20, focusing on text 20.
Text 1. Srila Shukadev Goswami continued. Impelled by the illusory energy of Lord Vishnu, Prajapati Daksha begot 10,000 sons in the womb of Panchajani, ISKCON. My dear king, these sons were called the Haryashvas.
My dear king, all the sons of Prajapati Daksha were alike in being very gentle and obedient to the orders of their father. When their father ordered them to beget children, they all went in the western direction.
Text 3. In the west, where the river Sindhu meets the sea, there is a great place of pilgrimage known as Narayana Saras. Many sages and other advanced in spiritual consciousness live there.
In that holy place, the Haryasvas began regularly touching the lake's waters and bathing in them. Gradually becoming very much purified, they became inclined toward the activities of the Paramahamsas. Nevertheless, because their father had ordered them to increase the population, they performed severe austerities to fulfill his desires. One day, when the great sage Narada saw those boys performing such fine austerities to increase the population, Narada approached them.
The great sage Narada said, "My dear Haryashvas, you have not seen the extremities of the earth. There is a kingdom where only one man lives, and where there is a hole from which, having entered, no one emerges. A woman there who is extremely anxious adorns herself with various attractive dresses, and the man who lives there is her husband. In that kingdom there is a river flowing in both directions, a wonderful home made of 25 materials, a swan that vibrates various sounds, and an automatically revolving object made of sharp razors and thunderbolts. You have not seen all this, and therefore you are inexperienced boys without advanced knowledge. How then will you create progeny?"
So everybody's understanding the allegory, Pretty straightforward. And that was a joke. I just want to read it again. So the allegory is this. So there is a kingdom where only one man lives, and where there is a hole from which, having entered, no one emerges. A woman there who is extremely unchaste adorns herself with various attractive dresses, and a man who lives there is her husband. In that kingdom there is a river flowing in both directions, and a wonderful home made of 25 materials, a swan that vibrates various sounds, and an automatically revolving object made of sharp razors and thunderbolts. You have not seen all of this, and therefore you are inexperienced boys without advanced knowledge. How then will you create progeny? Okay, so now it will be explained what the allegory means. Let me go ahead. Thank you.
Text 9. Alas, your father is omniscient, but you do not know his actual order. Without knowing the actual purpose of your father, how will you create progeny?
Sri Shukadev Goswami said, hearing these enigmatic words of Narada Muni, the Haryashvas considered them with their natural intelligence without help from others.
This is how brilliant they were. They figured it all out with any explanation. So now they'll explain what everything means. Yeah.
The Haryashvas understood the meaning of Narada's words as follows. The word bhu, the earth, refers to the field of activities. The material body, which is a result of the living being's actions, is his field of activities, and it gives him false designations. Since time immemorial, he has received various types of material bodies, which are the roots of bondage to the material world. If one foolishly engages in temporary fruitive activities and does not look toward the cessation of this bondage, what will be the benefit of his actions?
Okay, so what does the earth refer to? We just said it here. Sorry? Yeah, so the earth refers to the field of activities, so like the body.
Narada Muni had said that there is a kingdom where there is only one male. The Haryashvas realized the purport of this statement. The only enjoyer is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who observes everything everywhere. He is full of 6 opulences and fully independent of everyone else. He is never subject to the 3 modes of material nature, for he is always transcendental to this material creation. If the members of human society do not understand him, the Supreme, through their advancement in knowledge and activities, but simply work very hard like cats and dogs all day and night for temporary happiness, what will be the benefit of their activities?
Okay, so there is only one male. Who is the one male? Krishna. Okay, 13.
Narada Muni has described that there is a bila or hole from which, having entered, one does not return. The Haryashvas understood the meaning of this allegory. Hardly once has a person who has entered the lower planetary system, called Badala, been seen to return. Similarly, if one enters the Vaikuntha Dhama, Pratyag Dhama, he does not return to this material world. If there is such a place from which, having gone, one does not return to the miserable material condition of life, what is the use of jumping like monkeys in the temporary material world and not seeing or understanding that place? What will be the profit?
So what does the whole refer to? Yeah, he made reference to both places. Yeah, which is really interesting. So either heaven or hell basically is referred to like a hole that when one enters, rarely do we see them coming back. Like we have verses in the Gita that say once you go back to Godhead, you never come back. And it's interesting that it's said here that with Patala, rarely has anybody seen to return. This is the lowest of the subterranean planets. This is before the 26 hellish planets. But yeah, and this is interesting because it kind of explains a little bit why in the Christian or in the Muslim conception they see, okay, eternal heaven or eternal hell. So it's like, it's really rare that people come back. I guess that's why. Okay, 14.
Narada Muni had described a woman who is a professional prostitute. The Haryashvas understood the identity of this woman. Mixed with the motive passion, the unsteady intelligence of every living entity is like a prostitute who changes dresses to attract one's attention. If one fully engages in temporary fruitive activities, not understanding how this is taking place, what does he actually gain?
Yeah, this one is really interesting. So the intelligence Yeah, the intelligence is like a professional prostitute in the sense that she's always changing from one man to the other. So the intelligence of somebody in the material consciousness and the mode of passion, for example, is always like, okay, now I'm going to do this, and now I'm going to do this, and now I'll have this business, and now I'll do this new sport, and now I'll watch this TV show, and now I'll, and it's always like changing because we're thinking that we'll be happy in the material world. And so there's so many different stimulations of the senses that we go to. But somebody whose intelligence is in Krishna consciousness, just my service, chanting Hare Krishna, studying the scriptures, whatever my service is for the devotees, stick to that. And then the intelligence is chaste in that way. So 15.
Narada Muni had also spoken of a man who is the husband of the prostitute. The Haryavasyas understood that this as follows. If one becomes the husband of a prostitute, he loses all independence. Similarly, if a living entity has polluted his intelligence, he prolongs his materialistic life. Frustrated by material nature, he must follow the movements of intelligence, which bring various conditions of happiness and distress. If one performs fruitive activities under such conditions, what would be the benefit?
So what does a husband represent? Oh, the jiva, yeah. Yeah, so there is the one male, that was Krishna, but this is saying, there is also saying there was the wife, that she was like prostitute, and then they're saying she had a husband. So it says here the living entity, like Prabhu was saying. So the living entity who is married with, polluted intelligence, he prolongs his materialistic life. No matter what, he just keeps going on in the cycle of birth and death. Scroll up to what point? You want to go to this one? Yeah, there's only one male, so I guess somehow the husband is not considered a male in this situation here. Yeah. Ultimately, we're all female, right? We're all Prakriti, and Krishna is the one male. I understand the allegory is a little bit confusing because you have one male and you have a husband, but somehow the husband is not the one male. Okay, 16.
Text 16. Narada Muni had said that there is a river flowing in both directions. The Haryashvas understood the purport of this statement. Material nature functions in two ways, by creation and dissolution. Thus, the river of material nature flows both ways. A living entity who unknowingly falls in this river is submerged in its waves, and since the current is swifter near the banks of the river, he is unable to get out. What will be the benefit of performing fruitive activities in that river of Maya?
So what does the river represent? Yeah, the river flows both ways, so it's Maya, but more specifically, why does it flow both ways? What does it mean? Yeah, creation is solution. So, it's highlighting the impermanence of Maya, the impermanence of the material world. It's like, yay, my niece just gave birth to a new baby. We're all so happy. Oh no, my aunt just passed away. We're all so sad. It's just like, coming and going, yes and no. Yeah, it's just everything is so temporary. Oh yeah, I just got married. Oh no, I just got divorced. Oh, you know what I mean? Everything is so like impermanent in this material world. It's just like a river. 17.
Narada Muni had said there's a house made of 25 elements. The Haryashvas understood this analogy. The Supreme Lord is the reservoir of 25 elements as the Supreme Being, the conductor of cause and effect. He causes their manifestation. If If one engages in temporary activities not knowing the Supreme Person, what benefit will he derive?
So what are the 25 elements? What did they refer to? I mean, it's pretty straightforward. The 25 elements of the material world. Somebody name them?
Yeah. Those are the sense organs, which along with the mind comes to 11.
Yeah.
And then the Panchabhutas is another 5. Panchabhutas is another 5. Yeah, Panchabhuta, like the earth, water, sky, fire, and ether. And then the Panchapranas is another 5. And then the false ego, buddhi and intellect, buddhi and mind, excuse me, and ahamkara. Together constitute the 25.
Chai, yeah, we have Ramakrishna Pandit over here. Thank you very much. All right. So next one. Is 18 next?
Okay. Number 18, Narada Muni had spoken of a swan. That swan is explained in this verse. The Vedic literatures, Shastras, vividly describe how to understand the Supreme Lord, the source of all material and spiritual energy. Indeed, they elaborately explain these two energies. The swan or Hamsa is one who discriminates between matter and spirit, who accepts the essence of everything, and who explains the means of bondage and the means of liberation. The words of scriptures consist of variegated vibrations. If a foolish rascal leaves aside the study of these Shastras to engage in temporary activities, what will be the result?
Chai, so what does the swan represent? In Sanskrit, swan is hangsa. Do you recognize that word from any term that we use? Paramahansa. Yeah, so Paramahansa, Hansa is a swan. Para means great swan or like supreme swan. So the swan is used as metaphor to illustrate a really elevated soul, liberated soul, because the swan has this amazing ability to, if there's a container full of water and milk, the swan is able to drink only the milk and leave the water. So it's pretty amazing. And so the sage or the rishi or the devotee is able to look at everything and see where is Krishna, where is the absolute truth, what is permanent, what is temporary, what is Maya, what is Krishna, and is able to just see the essence of the absolute truth. Yeah, Jai. 19, please. Who's next?
Narada Muni had spoken of a physical object made of sharp blades and thunderbolts. The Haryashvas understood this allegory as follows. Eternal time moves very sharply, as if made of razors and thunderbolts. Uninterrupted and fully independent, it drives the activities of the entire world. If one does not try to study the eternal element of time, what benefit can he derive from performing temporary material activities?
So did you catch what this one was, Prabhu? Yeah, what does the sharp blades and thunderbolts mean?
Time.
Eternal time. Yeah, uninterrupted and fully independent. It drives the activities of the entire world. If one does not try to study the eternal element of time, what benefit can he derive from performing temporary material activity? So it's kind of like the machine, the wheel of time. We hear the machine. It always keeps things going and going like that. Okay, the last one, 20. Actually, this one we'll do the Sanskrit for. Shastrasya pitu adesham yona veda nivartakam Katha tad anubhupaya guna visham kamet Shashrasya pitu adesham Yona veda vivatakam Katam tadanupaya Guna vishambhyukamet. Okay, recite please. Shastasya pitu adesham Yona veda nivatakam Katham taranahupaya Guna visambyukatakame. Yona veda vinatakam Katham tadunahupaya Guna visambyupakamet. Asasya pitu adesham Yona veda nivatakam Katham tadanupaya Guna visambhyukamet. Okay, we'll do the words for word together. Shastasya, of the scriptures. Pitu, of the Father. Adesham, the instruction. Ya, one who. Na, not. Veda, understands. Nivartakam, which brings about the cessation of the material way of life. Katam, how. Tad anupaya, to follow the instruction of the Shastras. Guna vishambi, a person entangled in the three modes of material nature. Upakamet, can engage in the creation of progeny. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Narada Muni had asked how one could ignorantly defy one's own father. The Haryashvas understood the meaning of this question. One must accept the original instructions of the Shastra. According to Vedic civilization, one is offered a sacred thread as a sign of second birth. One takes his second birth by dint of having received instructions in the Shastra from a bona fide spiritual master. Therefore, Shastra scripture is the real father. All the Shastras instruct that one should end his material way of life. If one does not know the purpose of the Father's orders, the Shastras, he is ignorant. The words of a material father who endeavors to engage his son in material activities are not the real instructions of the Father. Please repeat after me. One must accept the original instructions of the Shastra. According to Vedic civilization, one is offered a sacred thread as a sign of second birth. One takes his second birth by dint of having received instructions in the Shastra from a bona fide spiritual master. Therefore, Shastra, scripture, is the real father. All the Shastras instruct that one should end his material way of life. If one does not know the purpose of the Father's orders, the Shastras, he is ignorant. The words of a material father who endeavors to engage his son in material activities are not the real instructions of the Father. Isn't this amazing? This is so nice. Who's the real father? Through Shastra, Jai, purport. Bhagavad Gita 16:7 says, Prakritim chanivritam chajana navidu asura. Demons who are less than human beings but are not called animals do not know the meaning of pravriti or and nivriti, work to be done and work not to be done. In the material world, every living entity has a desire to lord it over the material world as much as possible. This is called pravriti marg. All the shastras, however, advise nivriti marg, or release from the materialistic way of life. Apart from the shastras of the Vedic civilization, which is the oldest of the world, other shastras agree on this point. For example, in the Buddhist shastras, Lord Buddha advises that one achieve nirvana by giving up the materialistic way of life. In the Bible, which is also shastra, one will find the same advice. One should cease materialistic life and return to the kingdom of God. In any shastra, one may examine, especially the Vedic shastra. The same advice is given. One should give up his materialistic life, and return to his original spiritual life. Shankaracharya also propounds the same conclusion. Brahma satyam jagan mityam. This material world or materialistic life is simply illusion, and therefore one should stop his illusory activities and come to the platform of Brahman. The word Shastra refers to the scriptures, particularly the Vedic books of knowledge. The Vedas, Sama, Yajur, Rig, and Atharva, and any other books deriving knowledge from these Vedas are considered Vedic literatures. Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all Vedic knowledge, and therefore it is the scripture whose instructions should be especially accepted. In the essence of all Shastras, Krishna personally advises that one give up all other duties and surrender unto him. Sarvadharman parichacha mamekam sharanam vaja. One should be initiated into following the principles of Shastra. In offering initiation, our Krishna consciousness movement asks one to come to the conclusion of Shastra by taking the advice of the supreme speaker of the Shastras, Krishna, forgetting the principles of the materialistic way of life. Therefore, the principles we advise are no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling, and no meat eating. These 4 types of engagement will enable an intelligent person to get free from the materialistic life and return home back to Godhead. In regards to the instructions of the father and mother, it may be said that every living entity, including even the insignificant cats, dogs, and serpents, takes birth of a father and mother. Therefore, getting a material father and mother is not a problem. In every form of life, birth after birth, the living entity gets a father and a mother. In human society, however, if one is satisfied with his material father and mother and their instructions and does not make further progress by accepting a spiritual master and being educated in the Shastras, he certainly remains in darkness. The material father and mother are important only if they are interested in educating their son to become free from the clutches of death. As instructed by Rishabhadev in the Bhagavatam 5.5.18, Pita nasasyaj janani na. Pita nasasyaj janina janani nasasyat namo chayedya samupeta mrityum. One should not strive to become a mother or father if one cannot save one's dependent son from the impending danger of death. A parent who does not know how to save his son has no value, because such fathers and mothers may be had in any form of life, even among the cats, dogs, and so on. Only a father and mother who can elevate their son to the spiritual platform are bona fide parents. Therefore, according to the Vedic system, it is said, Janmana jayate Shudra. One is born of a material father and mother as a Shudra. The purpose of life, however, is to become a Brahmana, a first-class man. Whoa, I just want to pause here a little bit. This is intense. This is heavy. And it's just so interesting. It's so relevant how the Bhagavatam speaks to us directly, because my mother is actually here right now. She's staying in an Airbnb just on the road. She's visiting from Canada. And I was reading this last night, and I was just like, either it's a really bad idea that I invite her to my class, or it's a really good idea that I invite her to my class, but I don't know which one it is. Yeah, it's a lot, you know. It's so different. Seeing things from the material platform and seeing things from the spiritual platform is very different. Obviously, you know, even a materialistic parent is very helpful because they help us, you know. We do have material needs. We do need to, you know, get some basic education and some food and shelter and clothing and whatnot. But in the ultimate sense, in terms of the soul, a parent who cannot help their child become a brahmana, then the child just remains like a shudra, and it just is in ignorance and doesn't know the purpose of life. And then you just keep coming back and you just keep suffering. And not only do you suffer yourself, but you make everybody else around you suffer. You know, a devotee, like somebody who's in knowledge, like not only is he liberated, but he makes everybody else feel liberated. He makes everybody else feel like so happy. Like Srila Prabhupada, everybody loved him, even the most like materialistic people, even like the bums that were like passed out on the street in front of his apartment, they would move out of the way and they would open the door for him. So being a parent is a big responsibility. And it's said, Rishabhadev said, we shouldn't take the responsibility unless we're confident that we can help our dependents reach realization. And also to take a husband or a wife, it's the same thing. All right, let's keep going. A first-class intelligent man, and please reflect on this and think if you have any questions or thoughts, because basically we only have time to finish the purport and then we'll move on to the, to the questions and then we can discuss. A first-class intelligent man is called a Brahmana because he knows the Supreme Brahman, the absolute truth. According to the Vedic instructions, Tad Vigyanartam Sagurum Eva Bhikachet. To know this science, one must approach a bona fide guru, a spiritual master who will initiate the disciple with the sacred thread so that he may understand Vedic knowledge. Janmana jayate shuddha samskara di bhavid dvijaha. Becoming a brahmana through the endeavor of a bona fide spiritual master is called samskara. After initiation, one is engaged in study of the Shastra, which teaches the student how to gain release from materialistic life and return home back to Godhead. The Krishna consciousness movement is teaching this higher knowledge of retiring from materialistic life to return to Godhead. But unfortunately, many parents are not very satisfied with this movement. Aside from the parents of our students, many businessmen are also dissatisfied because we teach our students to abandon intoxication, meat eating, illicit sex, and gambling. If the Krishna consciousness movement spreads, the so-called businessmen will have to close their slaughterhouses, breweries, and cigarette factories. Therefore, they are also very much afraid. However, we have no alternative than to teach our disciples to free themselves from materialistic life. We must instruct them in the opposite of material life to save them from the repetition of birth and death. So this is the difference. This is the thing. There's 4 categories of living entities. I've seen illustrated, I think, by ISKCON Swami in one of his books. Is you have it's separated in 2 columns. So you have one column which is attachment to Krishna, and then you have the other column that is detachment from the material world. And then you have 4 categories. So you have people that are detached from Krishna and are attached to the material world. What are they called? They're just called materialists. So they have no interest in Krishna and they just attach to the material world. So they're materialists, or karmis is the term Prabhupada would use sometimes. And then you have people that are detached from Krishna, but and also detached from the material world. What are they called? They're called Mayavadis, or like impersonalists, or like Jnanis. They're just like, the whole world is false, everything is false, this is all suffering. Let me just get liberated and merge into, Brahman and go back to being God. And then you have people that are, they're detached from the material world, but they're attached to Krishna. What are they called? Devotees. They're called devotees. So this is what we aspire for. is to be detached from the material world, but attached to Krishna. So not only should we try to be detached to the material world, and not only should we try to be attached to Krishna, there should be both going on side by side, because there's actually a category of living entities that are attached to Krishna and attached to the material world. What are they called? Mixed devotees. Okay, any other term that we've heard? Yes. Sorry? The term I'm thinking is sahajas. You've heard of sahajas? This is what Maharaj would, in his book, he says that they're attached to Maya and they're also attached to Krishna. So in the sense that, they love the stories of Krishna and the Rasa Leela and they love to hear about them, but they're still very much attached to their own sense gratification. So, they want to I want to be with Krishna and enjoy, but for my own enjoyment, or, like that. Or devotees who are not so interested in Gita and Bhagavatam. Let me just skip right to the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, or like that, because there's still a lot of attachment to the material world and sense gratification, but I'm also attracted by Radha and Krishna and like that. So, but the thing is, we need both simultaneously. You can, because we're always serving somebody. Either we're serving, and we're always serving Krishna in a way. Actually, either we're serving Krishna in the form of his external energy in Maya, or we're serving Krishna in his internal energy in Radha and Krishna. So, yeah, Bhagavatam is all about detachment. A good part of it is about detachment and also attaching to Krishna. We need both. So anyways, we'll finish the last paragraph. Narada Muni therefore advised their Haryashvas, the sons of Prajapati Daksha, that instead of begetting progeny, it would be better to leave and achieve the perfection of spiritual understanding according to the instructions of the Shastras. The importance of the Shastras is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 16:23. Ya Shastra Vidim Utriya Vartate Kama Karata Nasa Siddhim Avapnoti Nasukam Naparam Gatim. One who disregards the injunctions of the Shastras and acts whimsically as he likes never achieves the perfection of life, not to speak of happiness, nor does he return home to the spiritual world. So it's it's so simple actually. It's so simple. We have a perfectly good manual that we just have to follow. And it's so simple. And then we can be happy, and then we can achieve the perfection of our life. But what's the greatest impediments? What's stopping us from following the scriptures? Any ideas? What's the impediments? Why is it so hard? Our lack of faith in what exactly? Give her the microphone, please.
Our lack of faith in Krishna.
Lack of faith in Krishna. Okay. Is that all we need? Is that what we need to follow the instructions of the Shastra? Is faith in Krishna?
Faith in the process and...
Yeah, faith in the process that it'll give me a higher form of happiness than what I've experienced in the material world. That's good, yeah.
Yeah, essentially that everything I'm looking for is in Krishna. I don't have to look elsewhere. But my lack of faith that everything I'm looking for is in Krishna, so I'm always endeavoring outside of that also.
Good. Any other thoughts? Forgetfulness of what? Oh, forgetting what we've learned from the Shastras. That's true, although a lot of it is purification. It's there's things that we have to remember intellectually, but if we're studying the Shastras regularly, the purification happens. Because the thing is, we know everything. We have the knowledge. We're Sachitananda. We have all of the knowledge. It's just that we're covered by illusion. We're covered by contamination right now. There's this nice story I've heard, allegory of this guru and disciple. And the disciple went to the Guru and was like, Guru Maharaj, like, I keep studying the Vedic scriptures and I feel like I'm not really remembering much of it. And then the Guru is like, here's this basket, this really, really dirty basket. And then he's like, go to the river and fill it up with water and bring it back to me. And then the disciple is like, what do you mean? This is a basket. It's full of holes. The water is just going to go through. And he's just like, did I stutter? Like, did you not hear my instruction? And he's like, okay. So he goes, and then he keeps trying to fill it up with water, and it keeps going through. And then eventually he's just like, okay, he gives up. He goes back. He's like, Guru Maharaj, like, look, I keep trying to fill up with water, and it's still, the water just goes through. And he's like, this is true. There's not much water in there, but look at the basket. And then he looks at the basket, and it's all clean. So it's kind of like that, you know. Any other thoughts over here, Prabhu? The mic, please.
What was the question again?
Yeah, why is it challenging for most of us, most people, or why so few people are following the scriptures nowadays? Like,
sense gratification would be a big one. Excessive sense gratification. Acting whimsically, like we said.
Mm.
Yeah, those are some of my thoughts.
Yeah, because we've experienced what we think is a lot of pleasure from the senses, like, you know, sex or drugs or some really tasty food or something like that. And then we think, hey, that's all that there is. Also just our environment. Like, if everybody around us is just acting in like animals, then we think this is life, this is how we behave. And then you make really strong bonds with all of these people. You make really strong attachments, like family and friend and lover and like all of that, and they're all living like that. So ultimately, I don't want to like spoil it if Dristo was about to say it here. What are you going to say? Okay. A big thing is the social side. It's huge. It's like we're social beings. We want to connect. We want to be loved. We want to be understood, appreciated. So it's hard to just decide to just step away from how everybody around you is being and be like, I'm going to go do something very different, and you're not going to understand, and we're probably not going to be that close anymore. And that's like a big challenge. So for people. Yeah, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I was reading a while ago, and it was Bhagavatam, and in the purport, Srila Prabhupada described that someone may come to a spiritual master and take instructions from the spiritual master, but due to misfortune, such a person will struggle to follow those instructions, and that they will basically not be able to follow. And so kind of what I understood from that is just sometimes, it's just due to misfortune that someone will come in contact with the Shastras and maybe they're not ready to surrender all the way to the Shastras. Maybe there's too much heavy karma to like work through all at once. You know, if someone's lost their mind, someone's totally deranged or something like that, then of course they're getting purified, but to, you know, really follow the scriptures and the spiritual master, one has to be quite fortunate to be in that position.
It's very true. So we're very fortunate to be here. We're very fortunate that we have a taste for hearing about the instructions of the Lord, and so we should take full advantage of it, because we never know when we can become unfortunate, or we can maybe cause offenses and lose the taste. And hearing it about Krishna is the highest fortune that we can ever have, because it paves our way back to him over time and away from birth, death, old age, and disease. You have something, Prabhu?
Thank you, Prabhu. So I was coming at this more from a vasana standpoint that we carry over from life to life. So based on all the karmas that we have accumulated in the past, be it good karmas or bad karmas. And when these bad karmas get accumulated more and more and more, they create a vasanas of their own, which we carry to this present life. And in this present life also, we attract conditions and situations, etc., according to the vasanas that we came with, which in turn causes further vasanas. And this forgetfulness and it's like the ahamkara that you have, your tendencies. Yeah, the tendencies that you have carried, excuse me. So the tendencies that you have carried in the present birth from the previous births, and also the tendencies that you have created because of the certain way of life that you are looking at to live and conduct your activities, they create in turn further tendencies. And all this, the forgetfulness and all this attracting of certain situations or the people and the circumstances in the life, they are all as an outcome of these tendencies that we have accumulated as a result of all the previous lives and also in this lives, which is distracting us, which not paving the way to proceed smoothly towards in the spiritual realm of Krishna consciousness. So,
yeah, thank you very much. So, I'm wondering, Prabhu, what's the solution to this? Because we're hearing about like challenges and stuff. Like, okay, what's the solution? How do we deal with this?
I think good association. Like for example, we've been having some really nice attendance in the morning, Mangalarti. And it's so inspiring to see everyone chant in the temple room. Like 20 of us chanting, If someone is dozing off, the next person says, hey, wake up. Or chant attentively. If someone is chanting attentively, you see them and, oh wow, he's chanting nicely, I want to chant like that. So I guess same applies everywhere else. Association, really good association of advanced devotees.
I think Mother Tosisaki, you have something? Same thing? Yeah, association is a big thing. Yeah. Also thinking Utsaha Nishtaya Daryat in the Nectar of Instruction said that we need to have enthusiasm, endeavor with confidence, and being patient are big things, because like Prabhu was saying, we're dealing with our karmas, we're dealing with our vasanas, our past habits and impressions and memories and all of that. So lately I've been learning this verse, Tate Mukampam Susamikshamana. See, on the spot I can never. Tate Mukampam Susamikshamano Punjana Et Vatmakipam Vipakam Hidvagvapobir Vidadan Namaste Jiveta at Mukti Pade Sadaibhag. Okay, thank you. It's not an easy one. So, one who earnestly waits for the Lord's mercy while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds, or vasanas, or your past habits, all while offering obeisance with the heart, with the words, with the body to Krishna, is certainly fit for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. So to me this is very relevant, because I'm just still constantly suffering the results of my past misdeeds and conditioning, but we just have to keep offering obeisances. We just have to keep and it keeps us humble. I've heard one of my guides, one of my mentors, tell me that even when we're like very sincere and we're really endeavoring and we're following all the instructions, Krishna will still keep some maya on us to keep us humble. So that we don't walk around thinking, oh, I'm so liberated, look at me. So, but no matter what, we let's say we fall down, we make a mistake, we get angry at somebody, or we let the senses take over and do something lusty or whatever, you just pick yourself back up, you go to the deities, you fall flat on the floor, apologize, you repent, and you chant Hare Krishna, and you just pray that please just purify my heart and make me a pure devotee. And you just keep going, and it's a beautiful process like that. And we understand, hey, we are full of reactions, and we have a lot of dirt in our heart. But it's not stopping us from serving. It's not stopping us from endeavoring, because ultimately, our process is just to cry. It's just to become like a little baby. It's just become like a little child. Just be like, Krishna, I'm stuck in this this well. I'm stuck in this well, and you're just kind of like reaching out. You're like, please come and get me. Compared to other systems, it's like, okay, let me figure out a system here. Let me put some rocks and let me climb up on my own. And so we're this pure love, prema, is synonymous with dainya, which is utter humility. So our main process should be, how can I become utterly humble? And so I've been hearing a lot from Radhanath Swami Maharaj about this, because I see him as kind of like the epitome of humility that we have in this world right now. And he was saying that humility means to not expect anything, means like, I don't deserve anything. And so if you don't expect anything, I don't deserve anyone to be nice to me, I don't deserve any respect, I don't deserve any service, I don't deserve any position, nothing. And so he was saying a devotee who's really humble, whenever he gets complimented, when he gets praised, when he gets high levels of positions in service, he's embarrassed. He's embarrassed, thinking, hey, I don't actually deserve this. But he's just like passing it on to the spiritual master, to the disciplic succession. So anyways, there's this one little clip that I've been hearing from him nonstop that's like super, super powerful. So anyways, maybe I can share it in the group chat. But this is what I had for you guys today. So thank you so much for listening. You guys are amazing. I love you. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
पाभरौ भुवि भुव भारा वहन्ता